On this week's episode, I talk about finished objects, a few items coming to the shop, what I'm currently working on, and projects I have coming down the pipe. So if that interests you, stay tuned and let's get started. Hi, my name is Tiffany and I'm the dyer and maker behind Latah Valley Fiber Co. You can find me online at Latah Valley Fiber Co. That's Instagram, or my shop is latahvalleyfiberco.etsy.com. If you'd like to direct message me, lvfiberco@gmail.com. Today is April 20th, and it's a cloudy day with a little bit of rain here in Eastern Washington. I live in Eastern Washington with my husband John and our son Hudson. And we live in the city currently, but we would like to live in the country so that we could have a few sheep, maybe an alpaca or two. So that's kind of our dreams. But city living is nice too because you get to know your neighbors and develop friendships with them as well. So it's good in each season of life. You enjoy it. So yeah, we're enjoying city living at this point. I do love wool though, and I love knitting and even dabbling in a little bit of crochet. And I really enjoy spinning, although I don't get to that very often. And I do have a lot to spin. So I have a few fleeces that I need to get processed, washed mainly, and then drying, and then carding and spinning. So that's this summer's project. So let's jump in to this week's episode, and I'll start first with shop news. So this week I dyed up sock yarn. And I was wanting to do sock sets. So that's where you would get your 100 gram, the main sock color, and then you would also get a mini for heels, toes, and cuffs. So these are the sock, let's see. These are 75% superwash merino with 25% nylon. These are the 4 colors that I did this week. And I also dyed mini skeins to go with them. So I thought with this lovely steel gray that I would pair this soft pink with it. And as I was dyeing these, I had in mind what I wanted for this. But as I'm was dyeing, I also dyed this, let's see, is this? I dyed this brown color, and I thought, that could go with it as well. Or even this golden yellow. So originally it was pink, so I might just stick with that. So this would be a set, and then I had this burnt orange. Goodness, this was fun to get, and I have the recipe for this so I can make a lot more. I was going to pair that with this yellow, this golden yellow, for heels, toes, and cuffs. And then this blue with the brown, although I do like the pink with this as well. Doesn't that look pretty? So yeah. Anyway, you always start out with these plans and then it's like, oh, well. And this looks beautiful, muted. pink and golden yellow. So these socks, sock pairs, sock sets will be coming to the shop at the end of this month. So look for them the last Thursday of the month. So that was fun to dye up this week. So that is it for shop news. Let's talk about finished projects. I finished this week 2 knit hats. And the first one I finished is out of my hand spun yarn. This is a DK weight hat, and I spun this out of alpaca, silk, no, alpaca, merino, and tweed. So I cast on 68 stitches, and I did a 2x2 rib. And then I decided sometimes I continue the ribbing up all the way the hat. That way there's a little more flexibility with fit for, if I'm not sure who I'm knitting for, which this is going in the shop. So that's generally what I do. This hat will fit a young adult probably. I have tried it on, and it does fit nicely. It's a beanie style hat, so it's warm because it has the alpaca. But I do like the tweed, pink tweed. Actually, there's a bit of purple in there. Pink and purple tweed is very pretty. So instead of doing the ribbing, I just knit, and then I decreased gradually, and yeah, has a nice pattern on the top. So that's the first hat I finished. The second hat I did out of my hand-dyed yarn. This is the bulky weight, and it too will be coming to the shop at the end of the month. I wanted to see how it knit up. This is in my steel gray colorway. Actually, I don't know of the name off the top of my head. Yeah, I'll put that here. It's downstairs in my notes. But the same thing, I cast on, now the purple hat was in DK, this is in bulky, but I still cast on 60, no I didn't. I did not cast on the same amount of stitches. Do not remember. It might be like 58. I am not 100% sure. This is actually a patterned hat. You do a 1x1 rib, and then you go right into 8 rows or so of a pattern, and then 8 rows of another pattern, 8 rows of another pattern, 8 rows of another pattern, and then you finish out with another pattern on the top as you're decreasing. It's very warm and luxurious. I put a can you see the pattern there? I had a little bit of the yarn left over, so I thought I would make a pom-pom, and that's what I did. So this would fit a woman or a youth size head. And this is actually a pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is called the Fern Hill Hat, and it is by Kate Osborne. So the picture is not going to show up because it's very light. She did it in her sample was a cream color, but I wanted to try my bulky yarn, and I like it. It's very nice. So that is my second finished object for the week. Let's move on to current project I'm working on, and that is a pair of socks. I have this in my knitting bag that my sister made for me a couple of years ago. So she's a very good sewist, so it has gotten a lot of use. This is my, I have knit night every week, and so I always throw my project in here, whatever I'm working on, and take it with me. So I am knitting a pair of socks in fingering weight yarn. A couple of episodes ago I talked about how I dyed this. I dyed it in a cake so that I could get a gradient yarn. This yarn is something, it's an undyed yarn I got from my local yarn shop to experiment with cake dyeing. And yeah, I like how it turned out. So this I cast on, let's see, I had 12 stitches. I'm doing this on DPNs. So you cast on 12 on one needle and 12 on another needle on the back. And then you increase. I think I have 64 stitches on here now. And that's the round and round and round at 64 stitches until I get to the heel. So this is about 4 inches. So I'm getting there. I have in mind this for a gift. So that's what I'm working on, and it'll need to be done by next month. So, oh, and no pattern. I'm just doing vanilla socks. I sometimes do like to do patterns on socks. It's a great way to kind of test out if you want to do the pattern bigger on, say, a sweater or something like that. So it's kind of fun to try it out on a sock. But this one's just a vanilla sock, which basically means that you knit around and around and around and around and around. So it's kind of I don't have to think about it, which is nice. So I homeschool my son, and we were doing our state testing this week. So that was 2 days at 4 hours each day, where he was testing and I was sitting there. So I did a bit of knitting. It's a great way to get some projects done. So that's actually all I have that I'm currently working on. I do have a couple whips that are languishing. I haven't put a whole lot of time into them. In fact, 0 time. So I'm not going to show them to you, but yeah, maybe I'll pull them out next month. We'll see. Yeah, so that is what I'm currently working on. I did want to talk about project knitting coming up. And as many of you know, I am going to do my first market May 6th, the first Saturday of May. And so I'm gearing up for people who may not want yarn, but they would like to have a product. So I'm knitting a lot of hats, and thinking, that most people like hats. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, when you go to do something for the first time, you don't really know what people want. or what they're drawn to. I was, last fall, I had seen on somewhere, I can't remember where, that these knit and crocheted pumpkins were super easy to whip up, and then you stuff them and you put a little sprig on the top and you've got this gorgeous pumpkin. And I made for myself, I had a lot of spare yarn around, so I just went to town. I think I made 5 or 6 for myself personally. And I was thinking, I could make a lot of those and sell them as a set or as 3, different sizes. So I may do that over the summer. They're really easy to knit or crochet up, and they're really fast. I will link in the description below the pattern that I used. And you can modify it too and put a pattern on it if you want. I think I just did 3x1 ribbing, and I knit it. I think I did knit it in the round. And then as I was doing a smaller pumpkin, I just used DPNs because that was really hard to do on circular needles in the round. So I just switched to DPNs, and it worked just as well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for the markets coming up this fall. So I'll probably work on that through the summer. I'm going to do some hats, probably just for this month, because we're going into summer and nobody's going to want a big wool hat. So I'll probably knit hats and pumpkins in the summer, and because I'm going to do the market September and October and then be done until the next year. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. But on the process of thinking of that, I went to my local yarn shop, and my son and we did this during spring break. My son and I picked out some bulky yarn so that I could have yarn to work on these hats, and he picked out some of the colors. So they're a little crazy, but that's okay. People are into all kinds of different things. So I specifically picked out Malabrigo. This one, I had done a couple of hats in solid colors. That was the Malabrigo Chunky. This is slightly different because it has color in it. It's not just a solid color, it's multiple colors. So this is Malabrigo Noventa, and it is a super bulky. That's how you spell it, Noventa. And it is super bulky. So it only has 90 yards. So I'm hoping I can get a hat out of it. I'm trying to think, does chunky come in between bulky and super bulky? If so, I would probably be okay. It does suggest that you use a size US 13 to 17. So you can definitely get a hat out of that. This color is, oh my goodness, Anniversario. They have some interesting names. That's a fun one. This one is Fleur de Jade. Fleur de Jade. And it's a beautiful blue. So we went a little crazy because they had so many different colors. I'm like, okay, Hudson, just start picking some. And he had fun doing that. So you kind of have to encourage them to join in on your craft sometimes. So this one is called Cowboy. And it's kind of a purpley navy blue. And of course there's a lot of different color of that in through here. Lightness and darkness, I meant to say. So, okay. And then this one unraveled here. So let me skein it up here. This one I think was actually my favorite because it has a lot of blues and greens and reds and yellows. And this is Procyon. If there's an I or E or Y before the C, it says S, not C. So this is Procyon, if we follow those rules. So yeah, this one is my favorite. Okay, then there's this lovely teal and dark blue. It also has some brown in there. And this one is called Seahorse. Oh, great, something I can say without a problem. Yeah, Seahorse. And again, these are Malabrigo, so you could probably find them at any of your local yarn shops. The next color I have is Cereza. Cereza. And it is bright. It's a beautiful red. See? Actually, this one's kind of my favorite too. I can wear red, which is kind of fun. Okay, the next two colors I have are purple and pink. The purple is called Hollyhock. Okay. And it's beautiful too. It has a bit of pink into it, so it's very tonal. But that'll make a great hat. And then the last one is this pink, and it's called English Rose. Can't imagine why. But it's got a lot of, actually it's kind of got a reddish color to it. But very pink and tonal. So, so that is what I bought at my local yarn shop to kind of bust out some hats between now and the end of May. So yeah, hats are in my very near future. And I'll be sure and post some pictures or include them, finished objects, in my next podcasts, the next few podcasts. I'm not going to get them all done between now and then, but yeah. So what else? Oh, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I had a comment on my last video, and I thought it was a very helpful comment actually. Might have been the previous let's see, how do you get to the comments? Okay. Three Gun Guy says that he really loved the gray in the bulky, so that was kind of fun. And then Carmen says the pale pinks and the gray are beautiful. And did I mention alpaca? And yes, if you watch that episode, there are 4 different colored skeins of 100% alpaca in there. And they are squishable. They are lovely. And I'm wondering, it would probably have a bit of drape to it. So it would be an interesting, you might have to pair it with something depending on what you were making, but and then she also liked the indigo. So thank you, Carmen, for your comment. And then, okay. Let's see. Okay, there was a comment on the the Lazy Kate. So I was spinning in that episode. It was episode 10. Was it episode 10? I should get it was episode 10. Okay. So on episode 10, I was plying 2 singles that I had spun together. And my Lazy Kate does not have a tension on it. So I was having to use my finger. And anyway, I think I commented in that wouldn't it be nice if this had a tension on it? So this person had suggested that I check out the Kromsky Tension Lazy Kate. It's vertical like the one that I have, but it has a tensioner on it that you loop through or over the side of the bobbin to slow down. Because part of the problem is that if you're going too fast with your ball winder, and you go too fast and then you slow down, your bobbin keeps going really fast, and so it'll loop around and then start pulling the yarn onto the bobbin backwards, and so it just causes a mess, a lot of tangling. This person suggested, and it's LDS Venus K, so thank you so much for that comment, and the suggestion to have my husband fix some kind of a tension on there that was reminiscent of the Kromsky. So I appreciated that tip. Thank you so much. Okay, I think that was it for the comments that came across that I wanted to talk about and to address. So if you want to leave a comment down below, I would love to have a conversation with you about whatever it is you're working on, or dream spinning things that you want to spin, or crochet. I love to talk about all kinds of projects like that. So if you want to join the conversation, leave a comment down below. And just a couple more things. As I'm getting ready for this market, I wanted to pick up some merch and kind of test out, the I don't know, the likelihood that people will like it. So I found a company that would print on mugs, and so I printed my logo on a mug, and I was really excited when it came. So this is my personal mug now, and my son a couple days ago made me coffee in it. He got up extra early, and so I woke up and I'm like, oh, it smells like coffee in here. So I got up, and sure enough, he had made me a cup of coffee in my new mug. So that was one of the things. I also got some stickers and a banner made for my booth at the market. So yeah, we're gearing up around here. It's pretty exciting. I have been working on dyeing up some tweed yarn, and I had bought yarn that had tencel in it, and my dye did not like that. So I dyed 5 skeins to kind of give it a test, and I dyed it with Kutch, which always, so far Kutch has bonded to whatever fiber I am dyeing, whether it's alpaca, merino, superwash, organic, nylon. It bonds to it just fine. So it did not, it bonded to this. It's, it has alpaca, merino, tencel, and then the Donegal tweed. And It bonded a little bit, but not very, it was not very saturated. And I used my same recipe and everything. So I'm gonna have to do a little research and see why the Tencel silk, it didn't take to that. So maybe I need to mordant differently. Yeah, so I'm going to do some research on that. I do have a little bit that I could show you, the 5 skeins that I did dye, but I'm going to wait until I'm able to dye the rest of it and kind of walk you through that process. So I think that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time.